William in Cape Coral, Florida, watching us on YouTube. Hey, William, what's up?
Hello, Tom. How are you doing today?
Great, but I'll get better. How about you?
Good. I've been watching the show a lot, but I actually had a question. And this is a question concerning the right side of American politics and Republicans. My question is, I know a lot of issues have happened from the Reagan administration, but my question is, was the Republican Party, where half of the GOP is evangelical at least, when did that start? Was that 10 years before Reagan, after Reagan? You know, when did the craziness really start?
The religious stuff, you mean?
Yeah, well, say, for example, you have half of the GOP is evangelicals, or
Right.
climate change deniers usually tend to be on the right-wing side versus,
Right.
say, the left wing.
Right.
And it seems very strange to me as when you look through this, and when did they get such a huge amount of evangelicals? Was it always like that?
No, it wasn't.
It
wasn't.
Yeah, it seems very strange to me.
Yeah, this was a problem for George Herbert Walker Bush, in fact, because he was not evangelical. He was Episcopal or Congregational or one of them, Presbyterian, something like that. And that doesn't excite the Southern Baptists at all. When it really started, and because Richard Nixon was, he was a Quaker. He was raised a Quaker anyway, but he was no friend to religious folks at all. But really where it started was when the Ronald Reagan administration hired a young man to do what they referred to as evangelical outreach. And that young man went out to Jerry Falwell and all these other guys who were, making a good business as televangelists, Jim Baker and the whole bunch of them, but, had not been all that involved in politics, and brought them in by offering them large sums of money. And now we're talking, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars are being transferred from the federal government to churches now through George Herbert Walker Bush's 1,000 Points of Light initiative, through these public-private partnerships, it's just a whole series of programs. Bill Clinton did the same thing. Arguably, Jimmy Carter was a little, oddly enough, our kind of fundamentalist Christian evangelical president was far more wary about handing out money to the churches. But that young man who did that for Ronald Reagan, his name was George W. Bush. And he was pretty famous for that, for having he was the go-to guy, and him and what's the guy he's a very, very small, thin little fellow, who ran the Moral Majority for a while. Falwell, started it, but and he was involved in in those scandals with. Yeah, no, I'm mixing up my my politicians, but anyhow, it really started during the Reagan administration in a big way.
Okay,
William, in answer.
Thank you for that, because it just seems very curious. Where it seems to be, and I apologize if I'm wrong. Please correct me. But it seems that the United States is so far to the right, where it seems where someone like Bernie Sanders comes along, who's really considered a centrist by international standards.
Yeah.
But
he's a centrist by American standards. It's just how the media treats him. The media is far to the right, William, but the American public, Bernie's positions are virtually all of them are held by more than half of Americans. Thanks for the call. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here, and please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.